What is going on, guys? It's Nick from Surfcast in the Island, back at you with another video. It's late winter, almost early spring we're coming up on. It's rather cold out, can't really fish yet. It's 20s and 30s when I'm hoping for 50s, 60s, and 70-degree weather to start the spring run. Fortunate enough, this coming week we're supposed to get those temperatures up into the high 50s and low 60s. And you could bet yourself you'll find me back west fishing, where that's usually where the fishing starts this time of year. But without further ado, today's topic of discussion is going to be another comparative video, that being between the Staal Vr-50 to my right, which is the silver reel, and a new pickup that I had as of recently, courtesy to Causeways Bait and Tackle in Wantagh, being the Staal Vr-75 in black. It also comes in silver, but with the new line, with the 151, the 125, that's the new generation of VRs, and that they beefed up the gears and the main shaft, making it stronger, more durable, more waterproof. You guys get the idea. Staal is built upon durability and longevity. Before I go any further into this video as well, I am not affiliated in any way in terms of sponsorships with Staal or any of its incorporated partners. All of the information I will be discussing in this video is only for your pure benefit and benefit only, based upon my experiences with Staal, especially the VR, being this will be 2-3 seasons using it already, and Staal overall having experienced several years. So stay tuned, we're gonna get into it. Okay, so the first reel I'm gonna start with is gonna be the Vr-50 in silver to my right, primarily because I have more experience as opposed to the Vr-75, which I have no experience with yet. That's gonna be more of an anticipation, what I'm gonna be using it for and why. So picking up the Vr-50 right off the bat, the first thing you'll notice, besides its obvious color being silver, is that it's very, very light. It clocks in at, on the box it says 8.9 ounces, which is nothing compared to a myriad of other reels on the market. And it's great for lighter setups. A lot of the setups I see people using and surfcasters using are on the smaller side. You don't need a giant rod and reel setup when you're fishing back bay applications most of the time, especially when you're catching schoolies, fishing the 20 to 26, 27 inch class, barely being keeper below lower end of the slot. But don't get it twisted, this reel can move bigger fish as well. I've moved fish well into the teen size class, 34, 35 inches. Now you're talking about 15, 16, 17 pound fish. And no problem at all. And that pretty much dovetails into the drag play on it. Very, very smooth drag, no complaints whatsoever. I believe that the max drag output on the 50 is roughly 25 pounds per drag. 25 pounds of drag, excuse me. And I can anticipate it's probably very similar to that of the 75. But yeah, this is a great back base setup. Currently I have this paired on my 8-foot Lamy. I'm sure I've mentioned it in the past. Great rod. I believe it's rated 3/8 to 2 ounces. So it's great for canal fishing, especially even on the boat. It's a great rod. Small swim baits, poppers, little bucktails. The gear ratio on this reel clocks in at 6:3 to 1. I know I've been mistaken in the past by saying 6.75 to 1, 6.7 to 1. It's 6:3 to 1, that's official. And it has roughly 37 inches of line pickup per turn, to my understanding. Now people would say, or when you're comparing it to that of a VS-200, 250 that has a lower gear ratio being roughly in the ballpark of a 4-to-1, the reason being is that it has a larger spool diameter. So even with a lower gear ratio, it has more of a line pickup, if that makes sense. I don't know the specs on that particularly, but that's not the purpose of this video. So what other rods would I recommend with this reel? Anywhere from a 7 to 9 would be ideal. 7 to 8 I would stick in the ballpark. 9's kind of stretching it. It can work, but that's not its optimal performance, if you will. I would start looking more at a VS-100 or a 150, getting into the 9-foot range. Not saying you can't get away with it with this, but it still works very well because I have field tested it. In terms of line spool, this is 20-pound Power Pro. You know the deal. I love Power Pro. I pretty much use that and Slick on all my setups. I know a lot of guys use 832. I haven't had the chance to. Maybe I'll use Suffix sometime in the future, but it's all mental with me. Very, very confident with Power Pro and what it has to offer. But yeah, this is pretty much the Vr-50. I've had it for roughly 2 to 3 seasons now, courtesy to Saltwater's Bait and Tackle and West Islip. Like I said, previous videos as well, they are the place to go when you have reels to service. Michael hook you up over there. He always treats me well. I get my reels in, I get them back in 2-3 weeks time. That's about normal for them. You know, they have a lot of customers because they're one of the you know, despite the fact of them being one of, you know, top of the line tackle shops I've been to, they're also one of the few certified Von Staal technicians on the island as well, with the exception, I think there's Whitewaters in Southampton, but I don't feel like shipping my reels. I'd rather go to the shop myself, and B, you know, it's just a really long ride if I did want to go out there to drop my reels off. You know, I don't really know much about the shop, but from my understanding, I know from what I've heard through other people that it is a great shop as well. But that pretty much sums up what I have to say about the Vr-50. The last thing I would cap it off with, going back to the line capacity, you could fit pretty much 360 yards of 20-pound braid, which is awesome for a reel this size. That's going in the 3,000 to 4,000 size reel class, like if you compare that to a Stratic or a Penn Clash. So that's where I'm going to leave it off with this reel. Shortly, I'm going to get into my anticipation of the 75 and what it's going to have to offer this upcoming season. So stay tuned. Okay, now I'm going to be shortly getting into the Von Staal Vr-75 Black to my left. This is the newer line of Von Staal that came out, the most recent line that Craig over at Van Staal introduced to the public this past year or two. The aesthetics are awesome. They're the same as the previous generation of VRs. But like I was saying before, the main difference with the coming out with the black color VRs as well as the new color VRs in silver, they beefed up the shaft and the main gear pretty much, making it more durable, like I said before, which this company lives by, dies by, and you know, to last forever pretty much. That's what these reels are designed for, to get beaten up, and they stand the test of time. Right away, I could feel from picking this reel up with, you know, obviously it's a different color than the VR silver, it's black, but right off the bat, what I noticed as well is it's slightly heavier, which makes sense. The gears are probably heavier, have more weight, they're stronger, they're much more dense than that of the previous series. I could feel right off the bat, but also that the spool diameter plays a big part in it being heavier as well. It's kind of hard to tell in the video, but there is a slight difference in the spool size. It's kind of hard to compare them. In person, it's a lot easier to see the difference in the spool size, but that pretty much dovetails into how much line this reel can hold. So I know I mentioned previously with the Vr-50 that it could hold 360 yards, a 20-pound braid. Okay, the biggest difference I see with that and the Vr-50, besides the weight of the reel being different, I see the other big difference being the line capacity. I think that's going to be the biggest difference between these two. And I think, you know, having that extra line capacity is massive. It's a very big advantage if you're looking for longer casts and still relatively light reel, have you will. In terms of the line I have spooled on it now, I had a spare spool laying around. This is 20-pound Power Pro regular super slick in marine blue. I do like my super slick. It doesn't, from personal experience, it doesn't last as long as the regular Power Pro. It tends to lose its color and fray a little more. But again, it has great castability because super slick, for those who don't know, it is an 8 carrier braid as opposed to a 4 or 6 carrier like the regular Power Pro. So it's less strenuous on the guides. 4 strand and 6 strand is more coarse than that of 8 strand. 8 strand is slick, it's smooth. That's why they call it super slick. Going forward, this is going to be a very big back base setup for me. I'm probably going to move my Vr-50 more so towards the boat when I'm plugging the marsh and whatnot. On my 8-footer, the 75 I'm going to use more so when I'm surf casting in the back bays, maybe light to moderate surf, but mainly you're going to find me in the back bay using this reel. The rod I'm going to pair it with is an 8/8 Tsunami Airwave Elite. I've had it forever. I've had the 50 on it at times. Great rod. Great, probably one of the best bangs for your buck, the Elite series, the Airwave Elite. It's somewhere in the ballpark of 160, 70 bucks for the 8/8. And again, I've caught a lot of big fish, big blues, nice teen size bass, no problem. Yes, so the specs on this reel, it has the same pickup as the 50. It's a 6:3 to 1 gear ratio, clocking in at 9 ounces on the reel, and it's 39 inches per turn. So between the weight is bumped up on the reel, it's heavier, and you get more inches per turn on the retrieve. So right off the bat, those are the biggest differences. I know I went through the anticipation of what I'm gonna use this reel for. I have high hopes, high expectations. Pretty much I don't expect much more or anything less than what the Vr-50 had to offer, because it was an excellent reel. So that pretty much caps off this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please like, comment, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to follow me on my social at surfcasting_the island. Thank you and have a nice day.